Okay, so I was saying that Daniel Sipke had been working hard the last few days on some refactoring on the layout editor. I was assuming maybe to change it the way Daniel had shown it up the last few weeks.
That's
cool.
What's going on.
In green.
And I'd like to demo it if.
Okay, let's do that because there is nothing to say about the changelog if it's not just what you have done so far. So
yeah,
please. So I think I need to give presentation to you, or you can just take it.
Maybe I have to request it. Let's see.
I will allow you.
I would have a single question. Is anybody against me changing the Owin branch? Because now it has support for disabling Owin, and that means...
Yeah, we talked about it last week. We can talk about it after Daniel's demo.
Oh, all right.
There is some reasons not to. We'll have to talk about it. And by the way, your sound is very low. Maybe your microphone slider should be increased. We can see you, Daniel.
Okay, and hear me too?
Yes, I can.
Cool. All right. So to explain what it is that we've actually built, do you see a green box now?
Yeah.
Good.
Wait. Wait. Am I recording? Is the recording automatic? I don't remember.
I don't know, but I'm recording too.
Okay, that's fine. But I don't remember. Crap. I don't remember if the recording is. Okay, we'll see.
All right. So all that we've done, or at least all that I've done, the stuff that I showed you a couple of weeks ago or last week maybe, takes place all at client side. So it's all in the browser. And I've built it sort of in isolation, and then over the past few days, Sipke and I have been working together on integrating it into the layouts module. We're doing that in a separate branch, a feature branch called Layout Editor, and it's pretty far along. We just have a few more kinks to sort out. And how it works is this. So it starts with just a bunch of JSON data coming down from the server. And like what happens on the server side, it's pretty much unchanged by all of this. It's the same layout module that it was before. That's really Sipke's area of expertise, and he might have more to share about it. But so this JSON data is bootstrapped from the server when you load the page with the editor on it. And the JSON data consists all of the data that's required to represent the layout. So all of the elements and their positions and their relationships and their state and their content and everything, and the classes and stuff. And this JSON is also, when you're done with the layout, when you choose to save or publish, then this JSON is what gets posted back to the server for persistence. And then what happens on the client side when the page is finished loading is that a model is instantiated from this JSON. You can see sort of up here. I don't know if my mouse is showing. Do you see my mouse, Sebastian?
Yes. Yeah, I see it.
Oh, good.
You didn't ask you.
There's some like some code samples up here just to give an idea of how it works. So the model gets instantiated from that JSON data. And that essentially builds up like a hierarchy of JavaScript objects that has all of the stuff. It knows how to convert itself from and to this DTO, this JSON DTO, and it adds properties for everything that's not persisted. So the editor state, basically, what elements get selected and focused and highlighted, etc. And it contains all of the manipulation logic, so it knows how to create and remove elements and edit their properties and reorder them and resize them and split columns and so forth. And it also does like out-of-band server calls for creating and editing new content elements. So those are like, there's a hard line here between layout elements and content elements. And then the layout elements are handled completely client-side. So the server side really doesn't know anything about them, doesn't create them, or they're not edited server-side. They're just basically persisted as part of the JSON. But the content elements that you put into the layout, like HTML elements and images and parts and so forth, those are created by the server. So whenever you choose to add one of those to the layout, an editor, like a dialog, is shown, and that actually is rendered server-side. And this model knows how to do that, so interact with the server side to create and edit those. And it can also do things like clipboard integration, et cetera, et cetera. So this is like the state of the editor, no graphics yet. And then what happens is, this is like the first part of what I've built. The second part I've built is an Angular JS module, and it's called Layout Editor. And that contains a bunch of custom directives and some templates. And that module, the root level directive of that is called an org layout canvas. And you bind that to this model just using an attribute. And then this Angular module data binds to this object model, and it contains all of the stuff for rendering it graphically. It contains all of the user interaction. So when you click the buttons and you edit values and input elements, you drag and drop things to reorder them and resize them. And also some keyboard interactions that we're planning to add, so you can navigate the model using the arrow buttons and do Control-Z or Control-X or Control-C for clipboard integration and things like that. Also handled by the Angular module. And what's cool about this architecture is that this part, the Angular part, this directive, is completely self-contained. So you can take this out of Orchard and drop it into any other application that you might be building where you need a layout editor, as long as you can provide it with a model that conforms to this interface. Might not be this model, might be a completely different thing that you're building with respect to the application that you have, but it needs to conform to the same interface that this editor needs. That also makes this reusable. Of course, you can move it to other places, and it also has the other nice side effect is you can have multiple such editors on a single page because they're completely isolated from one another, and all of the logic is encapsulated into these directives and the Angular components. So it's pretty clean and pretty neat. And the way that it works is this. I'll just to show it in action. So here we have just a newly set up site with the welcome page. And I believe Sipke's made some edits to it just to give it some columns and things. So I'm clicking edit. And here you see the new look and feel of the editor. So in its default state, when you haven't done anything to it, it just shows you like the preview mode, which contains none of the editor Chrome or interactions or anything like that. So it's a very clean, almost what you see is what you get representation of the layout that you have. So you can just look at it in its pure rendered form. And then when you start interacting with it, then things happen. So when I move my mouse over it, you can see kind of the different components that it consists of when you hover over them. And then it also has like a concept of focused or non-focused. So when you choose one of these elements like this, for example, this grid here, and you click it, it becomes focused. And then if you take a more deeply nested element like this HTML here, you click that, that becomes focused. And it kind of shows you the structure of where it is via these progressively more pale green highlights all the way to the root. So you can see where it belongs in the overall structure of things. And whenever you focus an element, it also shows you the children of that element are shown with a dashed border, so you can kind of see what it contains. And then you can do things like, I don't know, for example, if you click on this grid, this button here lets you edit the properties. So there's no longer like a dialog or a server-side interaction required to add some classes and styles and ID to every element. You can delete elements, you can reorder them using these buttons. So we have, in this grid, we have two rows, as you can see. I can take this one and reorder it to the top or move it back to the bottom. I can reorder columns in the same way, like using these buttons. It's obviously not the most efficient way to do it, but it also has drag and drop support, of course. So you can choose a column and just drag it around like this. Boom, boom. Or do the same thing with a row, like drag it up, move it around like this. So all container elements work the same way when it comes to drag and drop. We haven't integrated the drag and drop resizing of columns yet, but that's that's coming. And you can add new stuff. So if I want to click the root element, the canvas, and click this add button here, then there's no longer a server-side interaction required to choose what element to add either. So you can choose here, is it a layout thing? Is it a content thing? What do you want to add? So let's say I want to add an image here. And let's add this one. Select. There. Let's see, what else did I want to show?
Where is the image?
Oh yeah, I removed it again. Let me re-add it. Sorry. I'll add it. I'll do like this. I'll add a second grid to the canvas, and to that grid, when I click the add button on the grid, you get a set of pre-configured row configurations that you might want. So you want a row of 3 columns. Click that, you get a row of 3 columns. And then to this one, I want to add an image. So let's select one up, this one. Done, like that. And to edit, so there's 2 different types of edit that you can do in this editor. When it comes to content elements, you can either edit like the content server side using this link, this icon. You click that and it pops up the same dialog. And it's the same for HTML. So like this HTML element here, I edit it. Shows the dialog with the TinyMC editor. And you can also edit, like I showed you before, like just the layout properties of an element. So that's the second action here. And of course, also when it comes to columns, you can split them. So if you select this column here and click the split icon, splits it into 2.
Go a little slower because there is some lag in the image and redrawing all the time. If you can just give it time. Thanks.
I didn't quite hear what you said, Bertrand.
Yeah, your microphone is very, very low. I thought it was a background noise at first.
Yeah, I was saying, can you try to give it time when you change something? Because there is some lag in the display, and it's redrawing all the time for some of us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
I'll go slower. Yeah, so so I was saying you can split columns using that button, and if I remove this column from the row, then now it has some space to spare. So now the add button of the column becomes enabled, and you can add a new column to fill that space. You can also do things like adjust the offset of the columns like this. And all of that is going to be easier to do with drag and drop manipulation of the column edges, which is the thing that we have yet to integrate. But yeah, so that's pretty much how it looks. And the fact that it's now done using data binding and it's bound to a client-side object model makes it very easy to do things like clipboard operations, for example, or things like, for example, if I choose this row and I want this column I want to create a copy of it, I might just start dragging it and hold down the control key and just drop it somewhere else, and that would create a copy. So that stuff becomes very easy to add now that we have a data binding based foundation on which to build on. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I hope you like it.
No, because I'm an asshole, I have to criticize. No, I'm kidding. Can we change the color green? What?
I like it on the green.
No, just.
Everything else is green.
What? Yes, true. That's the second color in Orchard. Gray, then green. And there is blue, actually, the third one, the secondary buttons. That's great. It looks like exactly what you showed a few weeks back. So that's awesome. And I don't think it's a fake demo, so that's even more awesome. Mm-hmm. Some comments. The first one was from Bertrand. and I think it will be an easy answer, more accessibility, because people with disabilities will have to change content. So as long as there are shortcuts, this will be easy. To navigate the stuff with arrows, then to add stuff with a plus or whatever. Then we'll need some shortcuts, because here everything is dynamic with the
keyboard shortcuts, and maybe give some attention to the focus of the elements. Associate the keyboard shortcuts with changes in focus. That usually goes a long way in making something like that accessible.
You mean like when you press the arrow keys, you move the focus around?
Yes. Because the screen readers use that focus information to reread the new part that is being focused on.
Yeah, but I was thinking about that actually. Do you think that anybody would be using the layout editor with a screen reader?
Yes.
We have had some complaints in the past.
Yeah. Oh. For example, the navigation editor, the menu editor, is not accessible. And that's a problem. I know of at least one disabled user who stopped using our chart because of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was introducing the drag and drop in the navigation, and you can't do drag and drop with the keyboard. Done.
Yeah, and I mean, that person could use it for a while by actually asking some colleagues to help her with editing navigation. But here we're really talking about editing core content items, so I think this is even more important.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so everything like I was thinking that you should be able to shift the focus around with the arrow keys, and all of these actions that you can invoke with the panel icons, there should be keyboard shortcuts for them. So the standard stuff should just work, right? Enter should bring up the edit, and delete key should delete it. Maybe the control arrow keys should move it around.
Yeah, I agree with
technically, it should not be a big issue, because you must bind those items to specific actions, and there must be a way to do that easily.
Yeah, it's very easy now, I think, to add the keyboard bindings to this.
And that's great. You can fire Sipke.
Sipke was instrumental. Anything to add, Sipke, to all of this?
Yeah, I was instrumental.
In slowing Daniel. There's still stuff to do, the resizing. What else? Your pop-up. Nick loved your pop-ups.
The pop-ups? You mean this one?
This
one.
That's
really cool.
It doesn't, and it was a decision to actually have a model pop-up when Sipke did that. It was decided because to keep to be consistent.
I'm not keen.
Yeah, but it was to be consistent with all Orchard stuff. So
my only thing would be for the parts in the field, maybe on hover, show the tooltip of what they are. Of the description.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Description, so at least you
know. I think it's very limited here. It's just maybe I don't know. It's very small.
Well, if we do descriptions for the content part elements, which we can do because content parts have descriptions.
Exactly.
We should also introduce descriptions for elements, maybe, to be consistent.
And good luck with accessibility on this one too.
Well, that tooltips there are good for the accessibility. Tells you what you're adding
with keyboards and everything. Oh.
This doing this pop-up with the keyboard is not easy, I guess.
A bigger pop-up might be, or even a modal dialog will not be an issue here. I don't see the advantage.
I think for the screen readers, it's not a big issue because this is actually just a UL set of LIs, just a normal menu. It's just styled this way to be a pop-up,
Yeah, actually, there is another thing that you can do for accessibility, which is to use the ARIA attributes on those elements?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had another question. How do you see this adapting to a mobile browser?
I don't.
At all?
No.
Or another similar question to smaller screen sizes, or at least different screen sizes.
Yeah, that question kind of ties into a discussion we had a few weeks ago when we were talking about responsive layouts with the layouts module, I guess. And the consensus then, at least as far as I remember, was that it's not something that in the editing mode you should be concerned about because it's dictated by the theme. And potentially different themes might be used and selected at runtime. So you don't really know when you're editing what theme might be used. And the grid framework and the different breakpoints for the responsive sizes, that it's all depicted by the theme. So I think we agree that layouts shouldn't concern itself with it. So it doesn't now. Like it's when you resize the window like this, it's not like any responsiveness occurs. It just becomes smaller.
There are two things. There is the edition part and the rendering part. For the edition part, there is not much thing we can do about the editor.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
I think we have to kind of manage expectations here. It should be possible to have something that works okay on a phone when you just want to edit content. For example, you're on the move and you need to change a typo or something, to fix a typo. You go into the editor and you have access to the list of elements in there, but you can't modify the layout necessarily, but you can edit the contents. I think we could have a mode where, a degraded mode where you can still edit the contents without necessarily being able to edit the layout. Does that make sense?
Like a flat layout?
Yes. You flatten the layout, but you still give the access to the editors.
Yeah.
That's true. You can also make sure that at least it works with touch, even if it doesn't change.
Right, yeah.
But how did the previous editor, was there any thought gone into that one around mobile devices? And
it was ugly, so we didn't care.
Oh, you mean the rich text editor?
No, the previous layout.
The previous layout editor.
The current layout.
The current one, the Zipkibel to begin with.
Yeah, well,
oh, no.
It's only now that people are taking this one seriously.
Yes, that's what I said. Now they're asking the good questions, yeah.
And not to diminish anything that you've done. I mean, I think this is absolutely fantastic. But as we are rolling that into the release, I think we also need to think about future features. It's not necessarily for 1.9, but improving that further and making it even more useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So what is the
RTL as well?
Yeah, in your link bar, what is SEB?
Zed?
SEB, S-E-B.
Oh, that's a Swedish bank. In fact, I think about you every time I see their logo.
Sorry. Yeah, that's cool. And your little toolbox for each element is very, very nice, very well done. I'd like to see the same feeling of done, precision and detail when you have the little pop-ups to add some content. But maybe you will do something even better. You see, I'm very picky here, but when I see your little toolbar compared to that, this is not the same attention you put on the design. You see what I mean? That's fine. I mean, there is not criticizing, just giving the feedback.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, it could use some love to make it more consistent style-wise, I guess, with the rest of the UI.
As a user, maybe it was not on the previous also layout, the current one, but it was a possibility to have icons or more stuff than just a text like content item. I don't know. They mentioned this description. I could see icons also for, like as a user, you
You mean here?
It's easier.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, even here, it's easier to find what you mean by not having to read everything. I know with experience, then okay, you click there, and it's the HTML.
Yeah.
Usually people will take HTML, for instance, all the time. So I don't know.
Yeah. You mean icons with these guys here, right?
That's an opinion. I don't know what other people think, but
is this list extensible? So if I wanted to create a different type of something, so you got fields and snippets. If I wanted to create nicks of something.
Sure. Yeah, all of this is harvested server-side. Yeah.
You can create elements with different ways of, like using code or using CHTML files, shapes. So yes, you can do that. And there is also the notion of blueprints. On the left, it's called elements. So you can create already defined and customized elements.
Cool.
So
yeah.
You should come to the meeting more often, Nick.
Sorry.
It's beautiful.
It's really, really nice. What about modifying, what about LiveRider? How does LiveRider edit the content for these pages?
You've already asked a question, or someone asked the question. No way. A LiveWriter was just set for body part. So here, if you have body part, it will still work. You could just change the body part, but not the rest of the layout.
Okay.
Because
you can just add the body part and add the body part element to the layout. And
somewhere in the layout, yes.
Yeah. And then update your placement of the info to not render the body part shape itself, but just the just hide that one, and then you will see the body part in the layout.
It's also interesting to see in the chat people discovering the module. But that's fine. We have 30 people right now today, so lots of them are new, I assume. And I've never seen this module. It's been there in another fashion for the last few months already. That's great. So next week it's finalized, and
hope so. Yeah.
Good work. Good job. We like it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Is there any way we can send you some tips or money to contribute to the effort?
Yeah, absolutely. And my email address works for all of those.
I'm sure Bertrand can sell a few Tesla stocks and send you some.
Yeah.
But no, actually no, because Bertrand is not rich enough to buy a Tesla. You guys can, so we should not send you anything. Fine.
I want a gas guzzler anyway. Fossil monster.
Cool. Okay, great.
Hey, are you serious about the green, by the way? Do you really want it changed for something else?
No.
I guess it's just to set it apart from the rest of the page, like to make it a container.
Would you prefer to have it have a white background?
Yes, so I prefer you to have a white background and put Daniel Stolt behind if this is what you care about. I don't know. Just right now it's nice. I don't mind. I'm sure if I saw some other alternatives, maybe we will prefer some others. But yeah, that's fine. I don't and we can change it. That's not we know it's fine.
Mm. I think in terms of accent color, it's hard to find one that's more peaceful in the overall admin theme. It's the same green that we use for most other things.
Yeah, so that makes sense to use the same one. So right now we don't really care. We'll see later if this is the only thing we can complain about. That's a win.
Yeah, I suppose.
But someone will always have to say something about the color. So. Okay, cool. Thank you. One of the best demos ever.
Oh, nice to hear. Thanks.
After mines, but that's fine.
So I'll hand it back to the next guy.
Okay, I don't know how you do that. Or you can claim presenter role.
Pass presenter role.
Oh,
I pass
crap.
to you.
If I click on this, now I see record. What?
So who wants it? You?
Yeah, I'm taking it. That's fine. That's stupid. The icon was completely not obvious. It was an icon to close something, to click on record. What? I'm like, okay. George, are you ready?
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Quick one.
Quick. It'll be very quick.
But depends what week means, so go ahead.
Sure. So those of you who were at Harvest, remember that we had, Onestop had announced the release of our in-house layout and slideshow modules, and it took us a little while to get that out to you guys, but we finally did it. So this is just a standard 1.81 version, I think, of Orchard that I downloaded off the website. And if I go into my admin and go into the gallery, you'll see that there is a layouts and a slideshows sitting on the gallery. So you will need both of them and obviously with the imminent arrival of 1.9, a lot of people are probably wondering, do I still need the layouts? And right now you do need the layouts. I think at some point we will be modifying our slideshow module to support the native Orchard layouts. But if you want to use it today, you will have to use the Onestop layouts module. So we have our two modules, and you just go ahead and install them. And then you're going to get on the side here, you'll have layouts and templates. And if anyone remembers from the demo, layouts are kind of like the scaffolding for your pages, and templates are the actual, content that goes in those pages. So for this very brief demonstration, and obviously you have the two modules you have to turn on, layouts and slideshows. So I'll close those tabs. So I've created a very simple layout. It's a 2-column layout. And you guys can see, there's basically a row and 2 columns. And in the row, you can specify a class if you want to. You can specify, breakpoints. It's very bootstrap friendly. So very simple, just, row with 2 columns. And then if I go to my templates, I have created 2 templates. One of them uses the 2-column layout. So it has just some text on one side, an image on the other side. And then I have a single image slide, which is actually doesn't use a layout. It just is it's a simple image. So just it's for some variety. So I have layouts, I have templates, and now I'm ready to go ahead and look at I will create a slide. We'll create the slideshow first, and then I'll show you some of the options that we've baked into it. So we'll go ahead and make a new slideshow, and we'll call it slideshow, and I go ahead and publish it. I've seen there's a bug, I think if it's not published, sometimes it doesn't work. So now you're going to have, once you've published it and created the content item, you're going to have 2 choices. So we're going to go ahead and add a slide, and I can choose which template I can add. So I'll do a single image slide first. And it's going to ask me for my image, and I can put some alternate text. So I will open the media browser, and I will pick Bertrand's favorite, a koala. And I will select the koala and save him. And I will add a second slide. Now do a 2-column slide. And I'll put some text in here. And obviously, it's brief because we're almost out of time. I want to focus more on the actual, I'm going to put some tulips, on the actual features of the slideshow itself, rather than the layouts. So we may have to play with the layouts. So we have a slideshow. We have 2 slides as part of our slideshow. I go ahead and publish this. And then if I look at the front end,
you should probably slow down a bit again, because there really is some lag for some of us.
Okay.
Thanks.
So let me know when you guys can see. Basically this is our slideshow. We've got our 2 slides created with our 2 layouts. And then if I go to the front end, I have my koala. And then I have my tulips are actually much bigger than they should be, but I think you guys can get the idea. It's a very flexible system. The slideshow itself is really designed to handle a bunch of layouted content that then is arranged and wrapped up with the slideshow module.
And what plugin do you use for the slideshow?
Well, there are two choices. So now we can go into some of the details of the actual content types. If you go into the definition, which is a slideshow, this is the content definition that all slideshows are created from. You can also make your own, but it's usually easier just to use the default. So there's a whole bunch of settings here that you can customize, and either you can set these all up for default, or you can enable them to be changed on a per slideshow basis. So there are two plugins that we support right now. The default plugin is a plugin that was written by Onestop. We're releasing this to the community. This is the same plugin that we use on all of our non-Orchard sites. So this is the first time we've pulled it into the Orchard platform. I think it's currently running on about 45 websites that we use. So it has a lot of cool features. And basically, we have been using third-party plugins, and some of them were reliable, some of them were maintained, and we just basically ended up writing our own. So there's a whole bunch of options. You can set minimum width. You can have it show buttons, show indicators, cycle once, cycle all the time, go through all the slides and stop. You can have the slides move vertically, you can have them move horizontally. And then also down here, you can, allow the plugin to be overridden at the slideshow level. You can, allow the configuration to be overridden at the slideshow level. So there are a bunch of options. You can also create a separate content type. It will create a content type called slide. If you create more content types and add I think it's the slide part to it, you can have different, pretty intricate slides. Like you can put, whatever you can create in the content definition can be, then shoehorned into a slide. So the two plugins that we support are the default plugin, which we have written, which will work on any website. We also support the default Bootstrap implementation. So if I change my plugin to Bootstrap, the only thing you will need to do is make sure that your theme has Bootstrap. So if I reload my demo, it's going to look all broken because the basic demo does not have Bootstrap enabled. But if I go to my themes, and I'm going to switch to, we'll do PGS Bootstrap. And now if I reload the page, it's sitting here thinking this computer I'm on is very slow today, so bear with me. We have our fabulous Bootstrap slideshow. So, and you see the indicators and all this stuff, can be customized at a theme level. We have, like I said, we've used this. Bootstrap is actually the plugin we use on a lot of the Orchard sites, but as we move more and more of our sites onto that platform, we're going to find stuff that the Bootstrap slideshow just doesn't do very well. So that's why we ended up writing our own plugin. And a word of caution: this is actually the newest version of the plugin, so we haven't the module, so we haven't actually been using it on a lot of our production sites yet. So we will be updating it as we use it more and more, and probably find little things we want to fix. So we will be actively maintaining it. And when we get around to moving our platform to the new layouts, we will be updating it so that it works with either the Onestop layouts or the native Orchard layouts. So you'll have a choice.
With a nice slideshow element. I was saying a nice slideshow element being the piece of stuff that you have to write for the layout module elements.
Yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah. So sorry it took so long, but I think it's a really. I added this in 5 minutes to a site. It's a really easy way to put a piece of functionality.
So just open a site which is using it today.
This module.
Yeah.
There's an early version of this module that's, let's see. Let's see if Juicy's using slideshows. And the big update that we did is the current version of the platform supports a bunch of other plugins, which we've removed support for. And basically, either it's Bootstrap or the native plugin that we use. So this is basically the same. It's the Orchard module with a different. I think this is probably just using the basic Bootstrap slideshow plugin. But we use. I mean, this is the latest version of the plugin we use on all of our new platform sites. So Fry Company, Juicy Couture, Polk Audio. And 3 or 4 sites that we have in the wings waiting to take off. I think Rockaware launched last week. So this is the standard slideshow plugin that we use across all of our new platform sites. The latest and newest version of that plugin. I don't think they have any slides in the slideshow. It's kind of funny. Let's see. I think slides in here. So it's been a labor of love. I'd like to shout out to Bertrand and Elon who started it, and then we've been updating it since then.
Slides. I can see slides. Yeah.
You can see slides. I cannot see slides.
I can.
Yeah. So,
cool.
So it's out there. Anyone, feel free to give us feedback. I think my email address is in the contact. If not, we check the gallery page periodically. We may be putting another update out in another couple of weeks, but it's for you guys to share and enjoy.
Thank you.
Share and enjoy.
Thank you. 3 minutes. Any topics to talk about? I will end at 1 sharp. Nick, your demo will wait for next week.
If there's nothing else, then you had to say something about Owin.
Very quickly.
I wasn't here last week.
Yes. So we can open discussion. We can talk more about it next week. We don't have time here, but the main idea is that's fine. That's a good accomplishment to disable Owin in the unit test. The issue that will come in next will be that if we use Owin to support the authentication, for instance, instead of the forms authentication, because it will let us reuse all the Microsoft Identity plugins, OAuth, Google, Facebook, everything, then we won't be able to test it. So there's some stuff that if we implement in Owin, we won't be able to test. Right now, there is nothing, but that's just the only concern. But so I think this is not a big concern for now, just to mention that.
Yeah, I didn't want to go further with trying to get IIS Express working because somewhere in the near future we will have ASP.NET 5 and then the hosting story will be completely new.
Yeah, but that's another story. Don't worry, Orchard 1 will stay for long, even when we have a new Orchard 2.0. And at this current pace, we won't have an Orchard on ASP.NET 5 for a long time. So we shouldn't think about it. I think we should still spend the time at some point to have IIS Express working for the unit test.
Yeah, sure. Just merging everything from the Owin branch into the bundle text now would allow people to actually use it because now it works together with everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, we also need to be sure that, keep the branch, merge it, and everyone should be aware of the change and ensure it works on the website. If you can also have it on your production website, that would be awesome to ensure that everything works and isn't broken.
We use it actually on all of our production websites and it works.
Okay, with Owin? Okay, cool.
Yes. We actually employ Owin, so we have an Owin middleware.
Great.
Instead of an HTTP module, actually.
Merge.
It works.
Merge.
All right.
It's one that takes still time to do that. And because it works for you on production, because Nick and I have tested it also, that should be fine. It should not have any impact. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Benedict, for recording.
Sure.
See you on Thursday. And thanks, Daniel and Sipke, for their updated layout editor.
Our pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
And awesome record of more than 30 people in the meeting today. I saw 31.